You think the end of the world is just a myth? That ancient texts speak only in symbols? What if I told you that both modern science and religious scriptures agree on one terrifying truth? This world will one day be consumed by fire. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's an ancient warning that now echoes louder than ever, especially with nuclear power in the hands of mankind. Albert Einstein once said, with haunting clarity, "I don't know what weapons will be used in World War III, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones." It wasn't a joke. It was a warning about humanity's self-destructive power. And yet, long before Einstein, the Bible spoke of a fire that would devour the earth in the last days. So is it coincidence or prophecy? Today on the History of the World, we're diving into a truth few dare to connect: the fire foretold by Scripture and the nuclear threat feared by science. Subscribe, like, and share this video, because what you're about to discover might just change how you see the world. Across major world religions, Christianity, Islam, and even ancient Judaic traditions, the end of the world is not depicted with water, wind, or ice, but with fire. In Christianity, this theme is especially powerful. In the Old Testament, fire is associated with God's judgment. Think of Sodom and Gomorrah, destroyed by fire and brimstone from heaven, Genesis 19:24. But the most direct reference to a future fiery judgment comes from 2 Peter 3:10, which warns, "But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar, the elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything done in it will be laid bare." This isn't just poetic language. The use of the word elements from the Greek stoicheia implies basic physical matter, not just abstract evil. It suggests a literal melting of the atomic structure of the earth, eerily similar to what we now know happens during a nuclear explosion. Ancient Jewish texts, including the Talmud and Midrash, speak of an end in which fire consumes the earth, sometimes referred to as a cleansing fire. In Islam, the Hadith literature mentions the rise of smoke and fire from the east that will announce the day of judgment. The Qur'an in Surah Al-Takwir 81:1 says, "When the sun is wrapped up in darkness, and when the stars fall dispersing, and when the mountains are removed," all images consistent with massive thermonuclear impact. What makes these religious visions striking is their consistency across cultures and time periods. None of the authors of these ancient texts had access to scientific knowledge about atomic particles or combustion chemistry, yet they all point toward a fiery obliteration of the current world. Could they have been inspired by divine insight? Or were these early humans simply more in tune with truths we've ignored? To add to that, ancient texts also locate apocalyptic fire in regions rich in sulfur, like modern-day Middle East and Africa, which aligns with geological activity and the potential for catastrophic eruptions or, in our time, nuclear warfare in politically unstable regions. We cannot ignore this convergence of sacred prophecy and modern potential for destruction. It demands a deeper reflection. In the 20th century, science gave humanity one of its greatest blessings and gravest curses: the splitting of the atom. With the Manhattan Project and the development of nuclear weapons, humankind crossed a threshold. The power once ascribed to the gods to level cities, turn night into day, and poison the air for centuries was now in the hands of political leaders and military commanders. Albert Einstein, whose famous equation E equals mc squared paved the theoretical road to nuclear energy, deeply regretted his role. After witnessing the devastation of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, he declared, "The unleashed power of the atom has changed everything except our thinking. Thus we drift toward unparalleled catastrophe." But perhaps his most chilling quote is the one often paraphrased: I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. This quote reflects a terrifying conclusion. A third global war could be so destructive that civilization itself would collapse, forcing survivors back into the Stone Age. J. Robert Oppenheimer, often called the father of the atomic bomb, stood watching the first detonation and quoted the Hindu scripture Bhagavad Gita. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." These were not exaggerations. Scientists involved in early nuclear tests feared they might ignite the Earth's atmosphere. Modern nuclear bombs are hundreds of times more powerful than those dropped in 1945. One modern intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, can carry enough firepower to destroy an entire city, or worse, trigger nuclear winter. Currently, 9 nations officially possess nuclear weapons: the United States, Russia, China, France, the United Kingdom, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. The Doomsday clock maintained by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists now stands at 90 seconds to midnight, the closest in its 75-year history, citing global tensions, arms races, and climate instability. Even scientists unaffiliated with religion are warning that the current combination of political instability, military aggression, and environmental degradation could easily result in a cascading global catastrophe. This aligns perfectly with what the prophets and apostles warned thousands of years ago, not because science and scripture compete, but because they confirm each other. What's perhaps most terrifying, and yet most revealing, is the similarity between divine judgment and human potential for destruction. When the Bible speaks of the end of the world by fire, is it describing a supernatural act? Or is it revealing the inevitable end of man's own arrogance and rebellion? Let's think about this. In Genesis, God flooded the earth because of humanity's wickedness. But he promised Noah in Genesis 9:11, "Never again will I destroy all life by the waters of a flood." Yet he never promised not to destroy the world by other means. In fact, the New Testament implies that the next global judgment would come by fire. Many theologians argue that this fire is not just divine wrath, but the result of human sin reaching its full technological expression. Consider this. God created man with the gift of creation, but that same gift, when corrupted, become the tool of self-destruction. Nuclear bombs, bioweapons, AI-controlled drones, chemical warfare, these are the fruits of a mind unsubmitted to divine truth. So is the final fire from heaven or from below? Maybe both. Maybe God uses man's own inventions as the vehicle of judgment, as he has done throughout biblical history. Pharaoh's hardened heart led to Egypt's downfall. Babylon's pride led to its collapse. Rome's decadence led to its implosion. And in our modern age, it may be our obsession with power and control that triggers the very fire the prophets warned about. And there's one more chilling thought. What if this destruction isn't just physical? What if this fire also refers to the spiritual destruction of the soul as people turn from faith, from morality, and from truth? Revelation 20 speaks of a lake of fire, not just for the world, but for those who reject salvation. The final war is not only fought with bombs, it's fought in the hearts of men. This isn't just about religion. It's not just about science. It's about truth. A truth that both realms echo with sobering clarity. The fire is coming. Whether it be by the hand of God or the folly of man, the outcome will be the same. The world as we know it will end. But here's the hope. You can be ready, not by fear, but by faith, not by storing weapons, but by seeking wisdom. The Bible calls us to be watchful, sober-minded, and ready for the return of Christ. Science calls us to responsibility and ethical stewardship of our power. So what will you choose? Will you ignore the warnings and scroll on? Or will you share the truth? If this message spoke to you, click like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the History of the World. We dig deep into hidden truths, from the ancient past to the prophetic future. Don't miss what's coming. Turn on notifications and help awaken the world before it's too late.